StraightallDay.com.
Talent does not differentiate. A lot of people think talent is a differentiator. People think that if you are talented enough, it'll separate you from the pack and put you in a position to be recognized, put you in a position to win because of your abilities. And if you're more talented than the other person, then of course. And it doesn't help. This false idea is not helped by the fact that we see athletes and entertainers, people who generally get their positions because of their talent, blasted in your face every day through your screens, because these people often are very talented. Your favorite singers, dancers, musicians, athletes, these people often are very talented at what they do, and that is a differentiating factor in their space. But for the everyday person, 98% of people in contributing professional society, that you're not an athlete in entertainment space, or you're not one of the athletes or entertainers, is going to take more than talent to differentiate you. That's what we're going to talk about here today. Talent, ladies and gentlemen, is abundant, and talent is also easily observed. You can easily see talent in another person, and it does create attention. And it can create attention early for a person, but talent itself is not lasting separation in the professional world. 98% of the professional world. Differentiation begins only after talent stops being the deciding factor. For example, in the sports world, everybody who gets to a certain level has a certain amount of talent. Everybody who plays in high school has a certain amount of talent, but there can be some big gaps between one team and another, one player and another. In college, the same thing. There's a certain level of talent to play in college that is higher than a level required to play in high school, but there can still be a big gap between from team to team, player to player. At the pro level, however, that gap gets even smaller, and everybody has talent, and there is not a huge gap from team to team, player to player. Maybe in the way those teams show up, but in the raw talent of everybody from the best team in the league to the worst team in the league, the difference is not that big. It is actually very small. So what separates one from the other at the pro level is everything other than talent. That's what we're going to talk about here today. And we're talking about in all areas of professionalism. I'm just using sports as a canvas because it's something that everybody has seen and most of you can generally understand. Point number one, today's topic once again is talent does not differentiate. Number one, talent creates opportunity. Follow through creates position. Talent creates opportunity. Follow through creates position. As an athlete, I had enough talent to finally make the high school team when I was starting to develop into my skill. In college, my talent started to really show, and that got me onto teams at the collegiate level, but it was low level collegiate ball that I played. And then as I combined that talent with follow through, and my form of follow through was in sports, working on my game, i.e. taking the talent that I had, combining it with some actual practiced ability, also known as skill. That combination made me pro capable, and the follow through of working to get my opportunity at the pro level led to a career that lasted nearly a decade. It was the follow through combined with the talent that gave me that chance. Just talent alone would have got me to college. Talent alone got me to play college basketball. Playing pro ball was talent plus follow through. That's how it works. Talent created the opportunity. Follow through created the position. What was the opportunity? The opportunity wasn't necessarily just playing in college. The opportunity was me seeing that, hey, there may be something here when it comes to basketball if I can embrace that I have something and then do the work that makes this into something that matters. Just having talent alone is cool, but it doesn't matter until you apply it somewhere that matters. And even in college, I played Division III college basketball. It's not like I wasn't at some big basketball factory. I wasn't at Duke or North Carolina or Kansas where pro level players come through there all the time and you're expected to go pro just because you put the uniform on. That's not where I was at. So the talent that I had that led me to a college basketball roster still didn't produce any real life consequence in the wider basketball world just playing in college. I had to apply it, the work that is. I had to apply the work with the talent, and that's when it became something that mattered once I got to the professional level. So talent can open a door, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not lie about that. You have some talent, it'll open the door for you. What keeps the door open? The follow through, the discipline, doing the work. As the saying goes, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. That's not always necessarily true. I've debunked this saying. In some ways it is true, but in many ways it's not. Because if the talent gap is big enough, such as, let's say, at the high school sports level, sometimes there's an athlete who's just way better than all the other high school players, and that player doesn't have to work hard, he'll still kick everybody's ass, no matter how hard they work. But at the pro level, when everybody's good, yes, hard work will beat talent. Because even the person who's working hard, they have talent too. See, that's the part that's left out of the saying. See, that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard sounds good because it seems as if you're comparing a person with talent and a person with talent who doesn't work and a person who works but doesn't have talent. That's not actually the case. The only time that saying is actually true is when you get a person who has talent and they work hard and they're competing against someone who has talent who does not work hard. That's when hard work beats talent. But it is assuming that both sides have talent. If one side doesn't have talent and all you have is hard work, you're gonna get your ass kicked at the pro level. Actually, you wouldn't even be at the pro level because you have no talent. You would never got in the room in the first place. As I just told you, talent opens a door. So if you have no talent, your hard working ass ain't getting in the room because you can't even get the door open because you don't have enough talent to get in. You're a 5'7" Asian who can't jump over a stack of paper. You can work as hard as you want. You're not making it in basketball. You don't have the talent. This is how it is. Now, this is not news to you, is it? And this applies in other areas, folks. You look at the area in which you're a professional. Are there talents that can get people in the room? Yes. Do those talents keep them in the room? No. So you know what I'm saying here. Without sustained execution, talent becomes a temporary advantage that will always expire. Position belongs to those who finish what other people abandon. That's where position goes. Those who can finish what other people started. Sustained execution is how you finish things. Following through on the job, having a structure or a system that you plug into, and sticking to the process on a consistent basis. That's how you follow through. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is talent does not differentiate, even though people think that it does. Number 2, most people confuse potential with progress. Having potential does not mean you're going to make progress. Talent encourages the belief that outcomes are inevitable. They are not. The only time talent makes an outcome inevitable is after the outcome happens. And then people say, well, look at all the talent this person had. Of course they were going to be successful. We know that's bullshit because there are people out there who have talent who don't become successful. How many of you listening to this can think of one person, at least one, you've seen in your life who had talent in something that you were doing and you saw their talent. You knew how talented they were and they still didn't make it. Exactly. Everybody listening to this can think of at least one person who fits that description. Okay, so that proves that talent is not an inevitability of success. Talent is an opportunity for success that other people who don't have talent may never get. If you can't run or jump, you're probably not even going to get an opportunity to make it as a basketball player because you can't run, you can't jump. If you're not good on computers, you'll never get an opportunity as a coder or a graphic designer because you're not good on computers and you need to be on a computer to do those things. If you're not good with words, you may not get a chance to do your thing as a writer if you have no talent. So just having the talent can get you the opportunity, but if you have no talent, well, you won't get a chance. Follow through, and actually let me back up and re-emphasize what I said earlier. Just because you have talent doesn't mean you're going to make it. Every one of you who's a professional at what you do, you've come across someone who has some talent at the same thing you're a professional at now, and that person with all that talent, more than you had, didn't make it. Is this true? Of course it is. All of you know somebody who had more talent than you at the thing that you're a pro at now, and they're not a pro. How'd that happen? If they're better than you, or not better than you, they were more talented than you. If talent was an inevitability, then that wouldn't be true. But it is true. Follow through exposes whether that opportunity was earned. Whether you could actually follow through on your talent. Having talent is a pass to get into the room, but you still got to do something when you get in the room. Potential unconverted talent that doesn't turn into results becomes irrelevant over time. As a matter of fact, you become a cautionary tale rather than a success story. If you're talented and your talent doesn't become a result, then you become, damn, remember how talented that person was and they never made it. That's what it becomes. You don't want to be that person. And there are a lot of people who fit that description because despite the talent that they were blessed with, one thing that they never developed, understand my language here, they were blessed with talent. That is something that just happens to you. You didn't do anything to get it. It just happened to you. But working on your game, actually the discipline, the follow through, the consistent effort, that is a choice. Talent is not a choice. Discipline, follow through, sticking to the program, those are choices. And if you don't make the choice to follow through on things, you can have all the talent in the world. Without the personal choices, the talent alone, usually in 99% of cases, is not going to be enough to get you to a sustained career at what you do. It can maybe get you a taste, but it's not going to keep you in. It's not going to keep you in the game. In the sports world, some athletes are talented enough with no effort to make their high school team and be good. Some are talented enough to make a college team and play and be good. Some are talented enough to even make it all the way to the pros and play and be good. But to have a sustained career as one of the best at the pro level without effort to go with your talent, I don't care how talented you are, it won't happen. If LeBron James, with all his talent and all the gifts physically that have been bestowed upon him, if he didn't put the work in, if there were no disciplines or standards or follow through behind that talent, he would not be who he is. He would have had a career. He would have been in the league. Maybe he would have made a couple all-star games. He would have made a good enough amount of money to take care of himself and his family, but he wouldn't be who he is without the effort. The effort is necessary. And I don't have to know LeBron James. I do not know LeBron James, never met the man. I don't have to know him to know that that's true. Why? Because it's a universal principle that applies in every industry. No matter how much talent you have, without the follow through, you cannot have a sustained career as one of the best. That's impossible. Without the discipline, follow through, and consistent effort, following structure, systems, and having the parameters and rules and standards that keep the chaos and disorder out of it. In the professional sports world, you're beating up your body. For LeBron James' body to hold up as long as it has and still be able to perform at a relatively high level after 20 something years doing it with a target on his back, he has to be doing something that is highly structured in order for that to maintain. No matter how gifted he is physically, you don't just last that long without having a solid structure. Follow through exposes whether, again, that opportunity was earned and how much you're going to make out of that opportunity. Any potential that does not turn into result becomes irrelevant, or it becomes a cautionary tale, especially in a space where you're highly visible, such as entertainment and sports. Point number 3, today's topic, once again, is talent does not differentiate. Number 3, follow through survives through boredom, pressure, and invisibility. This is a very important point. In 2003, I found myself outside of my college basketball's program. New coach came in. I butted heads with the coach. He was in charge. I had no authority. I ended up outside of the program. I didn't play another college game after that point. I did not start my professional basketball career until 2005. In late summer 2005, I was off the basketball team in January 2003. So for 2.5 years plus, I was not on the team. I was not on any team of consequence playing basketball. I still had my ability, I had my skills, I had my belief in my skills, and I had an idea that I could go somewhere with basketball. But during that time, I dealt with boredom, i.e. nowhere to actually apply my skills. I didn't have a team to play for. There was pressure, i.e. there basketball players or athletes in general, we have a very small window in which we can cash in, so to speak, on our physical abilities, because your body can't do those things forever. That's why sports are a young man's game. And I was dealing with invisibility, because even though I had this ability, nobody was seeing the ability. Nobody cared. And I wasn't getting any return on investment from the talent and skills that I had developed up to that point. Understand that when you are good at follow through, i.e. discipline, i.e. showing up, doing your job, following the structure, following the system, even when you may not feel like doing it, and I'm pretty good at doing that, you survive through the boredom, the pressure, and the invisibility to get to eventually the inevitability of the outcome, to where somebody can look at you, look back and say, looking at where you were then, I knew you were going to make it. Yes, that sounds good after you make it. As I just said, anyone who says that, oh, this person had this ability, of course they were going to make it, that's bullshit, because there's always somebody with ability who doesn't make it. So it sounds good if you say it about 10 people and 2 of them make it. Well, you just ignore the 8 that you were wrong about and just talk about the 2 that you were right about. If you're going to make it with the follow through to go along with your talent, you must deal with the boredom of only having a handful of things to do in nothing highly stimulating for you. You got to deal with the pressure of knowing that you want to be, could be, should be doing the thing, but you're not doing it right now. And the invisibility of not getting any recognition for the ability that you think you have, yet you're not getting any ROI or recognition for it at the moment. You got to deal with all 3. And if you have the follow through, you'll get it. Talent performs very well under observation. When you have talent and you're being watched, you can do a pretty good job because first of all, you're already talented. So it's not like being watched all of a sudden turns you into something that you weren't. You already have the skill. Now that you're being watched, you're being seen even more. So you perform well under observation when you have talent. But what about when nobody's watching anymore? Nobody's paying any more attention to what you're doing. Then what? What happens then? Follow through persists when there is no attention on you. There are no observers. There is no payoff for continuing to do the work. Because first of all, there's no payoff for doing the work, like showing up every day, just doing the work when there's nobody watching. Nobody gives you an award for that. And you may be showing up doing the work that you don't even know if or when you'll get a chance to apply that work anywhere that matters. So you're working on your coding skills. You don't know if you're ever going to get a job where you can actually use these coding skills. You're working on your baseball. You're working on your hitting and pitching. I'm trying to use something other than basketball. In basketball, you're working on your dribbling and your shooting. You don't know if you're ever going to get the phone call to where you can get on the team and actually show that you're good at these things. You're practicing and you got to stay sharp just in case the call comes, but you have no guarantee the phone's going to ring. That's the hard part. That's the invisibility. That is the third day. That's the boredom. That's the pressure. That's the invisibility. That's the stress. Can you show up then with your talent and keep doing the work? That's the question. If you answer yes to that question, now you have an opportunity. When there's no attention, there's accumulating resistance. And accumulating resistance can be you just being ignored on an ongoing basis is accumulated resistance. If that's happening and you remain consistent under those conditions, that's what separates you from everybody else when it's not working. This is what mental toughness is about. Your ability to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there boldly and authentically, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to occur. That is mental toughness. When you can do that and you're actually good, that's when you make yourself into who you become. So that when you do finally get your chance, well, you've already been through the pressure. You already been in the crucible. So now this is easy. Everything that comes after that. All that said, let's recap today's class, which says talent does not differentiate. Talent is abundant and it is easily observed in other people. You can see when somebody has talent. Usually it's very obvious. In certain areas, it jumps off the page, so to speak. It creates early attention, but not lasting separation. Let's talk about where differentiation actually comes from. Point number one, talent creates opportunity, follow through creates position. Talent can open a door, but it doesn't keep a door open. So without sustained execution, talent becomes a temporary advantage that eventually expires. Point number two, most people confuse potential with progress. Just because you have potential does not mean you're going to move forward. Talent encourages the belief that outcomes are inevitable. This is 100% false. All of you have seen a talented person in your line of work who ended up falling short. So talent alone does not mean you're going to make it, but follow through combined with talent, that increases your odds significantly. Number three, follow through survives through boredom, pressure, and invisibility. That's when you really find out who you're about. That's when you get introduced to yourself. You can make it through that. When you get to the other side, you're already battle tested. That's when your success gets closer to inevitability. You are ready to step up your performance so that your outcomes start looking like your potential. You just need to get back on track and get calibrated and stay calibrated. Go to powerpresenceprotocol.com. Work on your game. Dre, all